Welcome to the Explainer. Today we're jumping straight into a microscopic mystery that's quite literally living inside millions of us right at this very moment. We're talking about an incredibly resilient, stealthy bacterium known as Helicobacter pylori. Let's dive right in because what we're going to uncover today is fundamentally going to change how you view your own gut health.
50%. Take a second to really let that sink in. According to the World Gastroenterology Organization's global guidelines, half of the entire human population is currently infected by this highly resilient bacteria. It's actually the most common human bacterial pathogen on the planet. That means half of humanity is walking around with this microscopic supervillain colonized right there in their stomach. And the craziest part? Most of them are completely unaware of the chaos it's slowly causing.
You know, the story of how we actually figured this out is wild. Back in the early 80s, to prove the skeptical medical community wrong, an Australian physician named Dr. Barry Marshall did the absolute unthinkable. He took a live culture of the bacteria from a patient and he just drank it. He wanted to fulfill Koch's postulates, which is basically the gold standard in medicine for proving a microorganism causes a specific disease. He intentionally induced severe nausea, vomiting, and gastritis in himself just to prove he was right. And, well, spoiler alert, it absolutely worked.
All right, here's our roadmap for today's explainer. First, meet the invisible invader. Second, anatomy of a survivor. Third, the damage left behind. Fourth, catching the culprit. And finally, number 5, diet, nutrition, and defense.
Okay, Section 1. Meet the invisible invader, the origins of a global pathogen.
Following Dr. Marshall's bold little self-experiment, this timeline really illustrates just how incredibly fast this bacteria takes hold. So he ingested the culture on day 0. By day 3, he was already dealing with nausea and achlorhydria. And by day 8, an endoscopy officially confirmed active gastritis and a positive H. pylori infection. That is a lightning-fast colonization. Now, in the real world, most infections actually happen in early childhood. It's usually transmitted person to person, often from mothers to children, or through contaminated food and water in developing regions. And once it's in there, it usually persists for your entire life unless you actively treat it.
Section 2. Anatomy of a survivor, the supervillain's tools.
So, you have to remember, the human stomach is a highly acidic, totally hostile environment. It has a pH as low as 1. It's literally designed to destroy pathogens. Yet, H. pylori looks almost alien in its ability to adapt and survive. First off, it comes equipped with flagella, which act as a little propulsion system. Then you've got outer proteins helping it physically stick to your stomach lining, and lipopolysaccharides that trigger inflammation. But the real standout feature? The type 4 secretion system. Think of this thing like a microscopic syringe. It literally injects effectors, like the Ka protein, straight into your host cells. This forces the cells to hold onto the bacteria and kicks off severe inflammation.
But the true magic trick is how it handles that intense stomach acid. First, it uses those flagella to propel itself deep down into the stomach mucus, where it's a bit safer. Second, it secretes an enzyme called urease. This is brilliant. It converts the urea naturally found in your stomach into carbon dioxide and ammonia. Third, that ammonia basically acts as a chemical neutralizer. It creates a customized alkaline force field, a localized protective bubble right around the bacteria so the stomach acid literally can't dissolve it. I mean, it is an absolute masterclass in biological survival.
Section 3. The damage left behind, more than just a stomachache.
If you just leave this infection unchecked, it triggers a pretty severe cascade of effects. It drives active chronic gastritis. And for about 15% of infected folks, this massive colonization leads straight to peptic ulcer disease, which are these incredibly painful sores in the stomach or duodenum. Over time, that continuous grinding inflammation and the DNA damage from those injected effectors, that can actually result in non-cardiogastric cancer. But here's the kicker. The damage isn't just localized to your stomach. It impacts your whole system, leading to really surprising conditions like type 2 diabetes and iron deficiency anemia.
Let's dig into that anemia connection for a second. The crucial term to know here is hypochlorhydria.
Because H. pylori is constantly altering the pH of your stomach to survive inside its little bubble, it severely impairs your ability to absorb dietary iron, which absolutely needs an acidic environment to properly metabolize. Plus, the infection stresses your liver, causing it to release a hormone called hepcidin, which messes with your iron metabolism even further. This whole chain reaction is exactly why infected school-age children so frequently show up with iron deficiency anemia compared to healthy kids.
And then we have this absolutely shocking statistic. Having H. pylori actually increases your risk of type 2 diabetes by 27%. How is that even possible? Well, it all comes down to hormonal disruption. The infection actively alters two key gut hormones, somatostatin and gastrin. The bacteria essentially tricks your body into producing more somatostatin, which drops your insulin production, and reducing gastrin, which normally helps stimulate insulin. So at the end of the day, your pancreas is just producing less insulin, slowly pushing you toward insulin resistance. It's a terrifying yet fascinating domino effect from the gut straight to the pancreas.
Moving right along to Section 4, Catching the Culprit, Diagnostic Hunts.
So, how do we actually catch this shapeshifter? Well, our diagnostic arsenal is split into two main camps, invasive and non-invasive tests. Invasive tests mean getting an endoscopy to grab a physical biopsy of the stomach tissue. Tests like the rapid urase test, histology, or PCR are incredibly accurate. They can tell us exactly how severe the inflammation is, and even if the bacteria is resistant to certain antibiotics. But they're invasive, and taking common antacids like PPIs can actually cause false negatives. On the flip side, non-invasive tests like blood serology, breath tests, and stool tests are cheaper, widely available, and fast, but they have their own little quirks, which we'll look at right now.
When we compare the two best non-invasive options, the Urea breath test, or UBT, is really the gold standard if you don't have severe symptoms. You just swallow a tablet containing isotope-labeled urea. If H. pylori is hiding in your stomach, its urease enzyme breaks that tablet down and you literally exhale labeled carbon dioxide right into a bag for the doctor to measure. It is remarkably accurate, but you do have to stop taking any PPI antacids a full 2 weeks prior. Alternatively, there's the stool antigen test, or SAT. This detects specific bacterial parts in your stool. It's super cheap, you can easily collect the sample at home, and some modern versions aren't even messed up if you're taking PPIs. Honestly, both are fantastic tools for finally catching the culprit.
And finally, Section 5, Diet, Nutrition, and Defense. Everyday armor.
At the end of the day, it all comes down to an epic battle happening right inside your stomach. A clash between the foods that fuel the bacteria and the nutrients that act as your own personal hero's shield. The ultimate villain's fuel? High dietary salt. Eating heavily salted foods actually destroys your gastric mucosal barrier, creating the absolute perfect environment for H. pylori to dig in, persistently colonize, and start mutating your cells. But on the flip side, we have our heroes: zinc, vitamin C, and probiotics. These absolute powerhouses help maintain your DNA integrity, they aggressively reduce oxidative stress, and they physically stabilize that gut barrier against the bacterial assault.
Let's look exactly at how this protective shield works. First up, zinc. When your body realizes it's fighting this infection, it deploys a protein called calprotectin to essentially starve the bacteria of zinc. But H. pylori is smart. It adapts and fights back. If your diet leaves you zinc deficient, you instantly become vastly more susceptible to severe DNA damage and inflammation. Second, vitamin C. Just 40 milligrams a day acts as a powerful antioxidant. It directly inhibits the destructive inflammatory response induced by the infection. And third, probiotics, specifically lactobacillus. These good bacteria basically play a microscopic game of musical chairs with H. pylori. They compete for the exact same adhesion receptors on your stomach lining, physically blocking the villain from attaching, all while actively strengthening your mucosal barrier.
Which brings us to our final thought for this explainer. I want you to really look at your own plate. Half the world is walking around with this microscopic supervillain hiding behind an ammonia force field, literally rewriting their hormones and damaging their DNA. The medical diagnostics and the antibiotic treatments we have today are incredible, sure, but your daily habits play a massive, massive role in this fight. So I have to ask you, are you inadvertently feeding the enemy within with a high-salt diet, or are you actively fortifying your everyday defenses with the right nutrients? Thank you so much for joining me on this investigation today. Stay curious, stay focused, and I'll see you in the next explainer.